So, let's talk about salary. Can you tell me about your expectations when it comes to compensation?
I can make it work for $65,000 a year. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Avery. You might think that you're only going to discuss your salary expectations near the end of the interview experience. Not true. You should be prepared to discuss salary during your very first interview. Yep, I mean the phone screen you have with the recruiter. And this is a good thing. Consider the alternative. You find a job that you're really excited about, and they seem excited about you. You meet the team, your future manager. You create a work sample that demonstrates your skill set. And it's only then that you find out the salary is far below what you need. It's much better to discuss salary early. But when you're asked about your expectations, how are you going to answer? I'm going to walk you through a couple different scenarios for how to disclose your salary expectations. Let's start with someone who thinks they know exactly what the answer to the salary question should be.
So, tell me about your salary expectations.
I could make it work for $65,000 a year.
Okay.
I understand the rationale behind naming a fixed amount, but generally speaking, it's not a good strategy, even if it's true. First off, when an employer approves a position, they will typically set what's called a salary band. The salary band sets a standard across the company by defining the minimum and maximum pay for a specific role, and it leaves room for negotiation. Where does the candidate live? What's the candidate's level of education and years of experience? But when you name a fixed amount, there's no space for dialogue. Also, you might lock yourself in at the low end of the band when, based on your qualifications, you could definitely ask for more. Secondly, your salary expectations should be based on what people typically earn in this role. Doing online research will help you learn what associates, managers, and directors in your field typically earn. This person sounds like they have the same expectations no matter what kind of job they get. Instead, let your research inform your expectations. Let me play you another response. Honestly, it's a pretty common response, but that also doesn't make it a good strategy. Let's take a look.
So, let's talk about salary. Can you tell me about your expectations when it comes to compensation? This is just something that we want to get ahead of to make sure that we're on the same page.
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, gotta get paid for a job, right?
Most people struggle with talking about money, especially in a professional context, like myself. If we could hear the inner dialogue inside this job applicant's mind, it might sound something like this.
Okay, but ego aside, I honestly don't know how much money I should be making. This feels way too high stakes. I don't even know what to say.
Since a lot of us are looking for jobs out of necessity, we often feel extra pressure to say a number that we think an employer would want to hear. Turns out, $65,000 was at the low end of what this recruiter had budgeted for this role. And listen, it's hard to negotiate up. Don't start at the low end. Do the research. Find out the ranges that are out there and be sure to share a range that starts at or is above your bottom line.
Are you using the Indeed mobile app? The app is free and makes it easy to apply right from your phone. Click the link below or just search Indeed in the App Store.
Now let's unpack that third response to the money question. You know, the one where it seemed like the interviewee thinks money is a dirty word.
So, can you tell me about your salary expectations for this role?
I've actually been really focused on finding a job that matches my passion, so I haven't really put too much thought into salary, but I'm open.
3 issues here. First, I just don't believe this person has never thought about salary. But I do believe that this person thinks that talking about money makes them a less attractive candidate. That's not typically true. In fact, many believe it's a sign of maturity and confidence. Secondly, no one else is going to advocate for you. And especially for women and minorities, equitable pay usually requires that kind of advocacy. Finally, even a small increase in salary on day one will have an exponential effect on what you earn over a lifetime. Every time you get a raise or a bonus, it will build on that starting salary. So when the interviewer asks you to disclose your salary expectations, that is a great opportunity for you to center your power. by showing you've done your homework and by making a compelling case for yourself. There are 2 strategies for how best to disclose your salary expectations. Let's take a look at approach number 1.
So tell me about your salary expectations for this role.
I'm really glad you brought this up. And thank you for bringing it up so early in the process. I've done a lot of research into the skills required and the level of compensation that's typical for people with my years of experience. And based on our conversation and the information provided in the job description, I'm confident in performing this job well and leveraging my previous work experience, which would benefit the company. So I would say my salary expectations are between $95,000 and $110,000 a year.
Okay.
He ties the range and rationale back to the job description. There's a lot of confidence in this answer, but it's not bravado. It's informed, positive, and direct. Well done. Now, there's one more strategy for disclosing salary expectations that you definitely want to see because it puts you in the driver's seat. Let's run it back one more time.
So what are your salary expectations for this role?
Does this job have a salary band that you could share with me?
This approach puts the onus on the recruiter to share their salary range. Smart. But this delivery was a little short on the positive conversational tone. Let's try that one again.
So tell me about your salary expectations for this role.
Thank you for asking. That's actually one of the first questions I have for you. If you could share the salary range with me. Can you do that?
Better for sure. But if you say, "Can you do that?" it sets up the recruiter to push back and say, "I'm not typically at liberty to disclose that information." Don't give them that option. Let's run it back one more time.
Thank you for asking. To provide you an informed answer, I'd like to get a better idea of what this position entails. What is the designated salary band for this job?
There's nothing not to like here. Let's see how the conversation unfolds.
So it depends on a few different factors, including where the candidate lives, number of years of relevant experience. But generally speaking, the salary range for this role is between $75,000 to $90,000 a year.
If this candidate hasn't done their research, then he has no way to compare that salary band to the industry standard. Maybe it's right there, or maybe it's off. You've got to do your own due diligence, or you'll never know. Now, in this case, they had done the research. This stated salary range is below what they've read about. Let's pick up and see what happens.
I appreciate your transparency. Already, I feel like it speaks to the culture of this company. Based on the typical salaries for my level of experience in the industry, the skills that are required to be successful in this role, and my current earnings, I do feel like the salary range is below my expectations, to be honest.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Would you mind disclosing what that range is?
First and foremost, I want to be a part of a team that has a sense of mission and is empowered to do their best work. That's critical. My expectations for salary are from $95,000 to $110,000. Is this within your recruiting range?
Okay, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Maintaining transparency, that range is a little above what we have allocated for the role.
All right.
But let me see what we can do as our conversations continue.
Okay, that's good.
Let's talk about next steps.
Great tone throughout. He was inviting conversation, which is fantastic. It's a dialogue after all, and doing research beforehand might really pay off. If we get to the job offer stage, there's a good chance that the proposed salary will be more than it would have been. No one is going to disclose your salary expectations but you. No one will advocate for a higher level of compensation but you. The question is going to come up sooner than you think. Be ready for it. And when the time comes, use one of the 2 winning strategies in this video to disclose your salary expectations. Be sure to like and subscribe for more interview tips and tricks.
Let's talk about next steps.
Okay, yes, next time.
Great.
I want to see the building. The 3rd floor looked crazy. You could see it from the atrium.
Yes, the 3rd floor is actually where all our business executives sit, so work your way on up there.
Okay, I like that.